First claim is the idea that the New Testament authors have contradictory points of view on major issues, right? That is the first claim that they want us to take a look at, right? In other words, here's a major issue, and the New Testament authors contradict one another with regard to what they think about and say about this particular issue, right? And so they'll look at a couple of issues just as examples, so they can see that, so we can see that no, this isn't necessarily the case, right?
Right. Taking some of his predominant claims they are addressing here.
Right.
So does the Bible contradict itself?
Does it?
Yeah. So Bart Ehrman explains his approach to understanding the various perspectives found in the New Testament. So he says the historical critical method maintains that we are in danger of misreading a book if we fail to let its author speak for himself, if we force his message to be exactly the same as another author's message. These books were written in different times and places under different circumstances to address different issues. They were written by different authors with different perspectives, beliefs, assumptions, traditions, and sources, and sometimes they present different points of view on major issues. I'm sorry, was I reading a Believers here?
Yeah, really. I mean, one wonders if Ehrman realizes that many conservative scholars have long been saying the same thing.
Begging people to understand this.
Yeah. Right? Without viewing it as a threat, by the way, to how, the unity of the New Testament, right? I mean, clearly we want each one to speak for themselves, right? That's why we have different accounts, right? So Ehrman, in many ways, sounds remarkably similar to conservative evangelical scholars.
Page 64 of Jesus Interrupted is where he says this. So.
Yeah. So, for instance, Craig Bloomberg, he writes something similar. He says, in the midst of Scripture's unity, we must not lose sight of its diversity. This takes several forms. The books of the Bible are written by different authors in different times and places to different audiences in distinct circumstances using various literary genres. Each book thus displays unique purposes and themes.
Hey.
Wow, so they,
Right. I mean, saying the same thing. And exactly. It's exactly true. It's what we see in history itself, both present and past. I mean, past, like, really past. But, if you're talking about a battle of World War II, Pegasus Bridge, you're going to look at it from an overview of command who's not there, but has laid the plans for holding off German invasion of this bridge, and then the person on the ground. You want those perspectives because you're going to get a better idea and understanding of exactly what was in the mind, what was the understanding. Yes, those were the orders, but were the orders carried out and such? So, and different people, you have probably someone that went to college. You have someone who's been drafted, out of small town Texas. So who knows? And so you want these different
Nothing wrong with
perspectives.
Texas, by the way, right?
Don't mess with it. That's what I understand. So here, both Ehrman and Bloomberg appear to be saying the similar things. Exactly. Yet their tones and ultimate conclusions are in stark contrast.
Yeah, so that is amazing. So they're saying the same things about the Scripture, and they suggest that we should approach it in the same way, but their conclusions are vastly different.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So the difference between Ehrman and Bloomberg seems bound up more in their presuppositions. Ooh,
right.
that nasty word that they bring into the interpretive process rather than in the refusal on the part of either scholar to recognize diversity. They both recognize diversity. One just kind of wants to throw it out rather than
or at least criticize it as something that's wrong.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
They recognize the unity of the New Testament does not in any way preclude the realization that the biblical authors were real people writing with particular points of view and aspects of the story they wanted to emphasize. Right. Matthew's kind of considered a gospel to the Jewish people, and so emphasizes Jewish themes within the context of the life of Jesus. And then you have John, who's writing from kind of a distant away from immediate persecution, can write fuller, can write with more specific names, and write for a general audience for both Greek and Jewish alike. And Mark writing quickly as he does immediately. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's
immediately
the
Jesus,
the Gospel of Mark.
Yeah,
and immediately he did this. So different writing at different times, different perspectives. in different ways. Mark is probably writing from a perspective of Peter, and so you have Levi, who's Matthew, writing from his own perspective, John writing from a fuller perspective, and Luke writing from a testimony perspective, right? Interviewing people who are there, talking to Mary and figuring out, hey, we've only heard this from one other gospel before. What was the birth of Jesus like?
Yeah.
Okay, that might be important for people to understand.
Yeah, so, clearly recognizing the unity of the New Testament doesn't preclude that, each one wrote from their own perspective, right?